In this video, I'm going to show you some next steps when you're ready to bridge the gap between just playing scales and chord progressions and taking it to the next level. This video is responding to a question I got asked about the video I posted about the chord sequence everybody likes because it is easy, and it sounds like this. They asked if there's a version of this progression using black keys. I love this question because these are the kinds that help us to get from the bare bones to really understanding how music theory works, at which point the music theory starts to become the music. C is the first note, D is the second, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, and B is 7. So when we can play a scale, it means we can play the notes in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But what about the order 1, 3, 5, 3, 1? Lots of people are taught that. How about an order nobody is taught, like 1, 4, 2, 6, 5, 3, 7, 8, 1? That's a little bit harder, and it's a little more to think about. It's still the scale, just not the order that you're used to. The more different arrangements of the notes that you can do, the more you are elevating your knowledge of the scale. So this time, let's try 2 notes at a time. 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 5, 4, 6, 5, 7, and 1, 8. Mainly in C, you have to especially think about where in the scale each degree is. But other than that, you know it's all natural notes, no black keys. Now, let's build chords. We'll just do everything root position, voice leading, we'll save for a later date. And we'll do chords 1, 4, 5, and back to 1. That's very common. So let's do something now a little less common, like 1, 3, 2, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 1. We're starting this on the note 4 of the scale as the root of the chord, and we're making a 7th chord. Then we know the rest. The top 2 come down, the lower 2 come down, and so on. So now comes the moment of truth. How well do we really know our major scales? If you haven't done this already, I invite you to check out the previous video on the major scales and the tetrachords, and I'll try to figure out how to put a card or something like that so you can find it, and also I'll put a link in the description. That video is not about just watching once and going, okay, right, I can play the scales. It's about playing everything until you have it in your sleep. If you can count out the whole and half steps to create every tetrachord accurately, that's a great start. The end point is you want to be able to see the entire tetrachord the moment you play the first note. So if I say tetrachord on E, that's a perfectly good start, but the goal is to see this the moment you've got your finger on the first note. And you want to do that for all 12 notes. Then you want to do the same with all 12 major scales. A major, instantly want to see the whole scale, not note by note as you're playing and figuring it out. Because if you have to stop and think, it will be very cumbersome to try to get through something beyond simply playing the scale. So let's say we're there. Now let's try that same single note passage from above, but in the key of A. If it's a little trickier than the C major version was, it means that we want to step up our game regarding our knowledge of the A major scale. We want any version of the scale to be just as secure as the initial consecutive note version. Then, see if you are just as well locked in when playing the 2-note figures. So we'll repeat that one above. 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 5, 4, 6, 5, 7, and 1, 8. Next, try the chord progression we had done in C. And now the Jeepers Creepers 7th chord progression. Remember, it starts on the 4, and this is a root position 7th chord in the key of A. The top 2 come down, then the bottom 2, and so on. Now, of course, you can really see that you become a whole new kind of musician once you can do these kinds of things in all of the keys. But now we're going to skip ahead and finally answer this very patient person who had asked if there was a black key version of the Jeepers Creepers progression, and I will figure out how to add a card for that video as well. All we need to do is be in a key with all black keys. And we have 2. We can either be in B major or F sharp major. So let's do B major. Remember, that's how fast you want to know that scale. We start on 4, root position 7th chord in B major. So to recap, the secret is in the scales. If you can play them easily, that's good. If you can see the entire scale before you play the first note, that's better. If you can play every possible permutation of the scale that you can think of, whether doing a single line melody, 2 parts, 3-note chords, 7th chords, that is a fabulous knowledge of the scales. And if you can do more, meaning 9th chords, 13th chords, altered chords, you're in really great shape and you have the musical world at your fingertips. And yes, you will then be able to play the Jeepers Creepers progression in any key. Have fun.